Namaste everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, I want to share one of the most extraordinary incidents from the life of Swami Vivekananda. An incident so profound, so mysterious, and so spiritually significant that those who witnessed it believed that Narendra had left his body forever. This is the story of the night young Narendra entered Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the highest spiritual realization described in Vedanta. The year was 1886. Sri Ramakrishna was seriously ill and staying at the Cossipore Garden House. Around him gathered a group of young disciples. Day and night they served their beloved master. Among them was Narendra, the disciple who would one day become known to the world as Swami Vivekananda. For years, Narendra had been seeking the highest truth. His longing for God burned like a fire. Nothing else satisfied him. Not wealth, not fame, not worldly success. He wanted direct realization. He wanted to know God face to face. Again and again, Narendra had prayed to Sri Ramakrishna, "Grant me Nirvikalpa Samadhi." But Sri Ramakrishna always restrained him. The master knew that Narendra had not been born merely for his own liberation. A great mission awaited him. The world was waiting for him. And so the master waited for the right moment. Then one evening, without warning, it happened. Narendra was meditating quietly. Suddenly, he became aware of a brilliant light behind his head. At first it appeared as a luminous glow, but moment by moment, the light became more intense, more radiant, more overwhelming. His mind was irresistibly drawn toward it. Then something extraordinary happened. His awareness began to rise beyond the body, beyond the senses, beyond the mind itself. Thoughts disappeared, memories disappeared. The world disappeared. All distinctions vanished. The individual self melted away. The universe itself seemed to dissolve. Only the infinite remained. Only Brahman remained. The absolute reality. Words cannot describe such a state. The scriptures attempt to explain it. Mystics speak of it. But it can never truly be expressed. It must be experienced. Narendra had reached the summit of spiritual realization, the peak toward which sages strive for lifetimes. Meanwhile, the night at Cossipore remained quiet. Some disciples were meditating. Others were serving Sri Ramakrishna. A few were softly singing devotional songs in the distance. Everything appeared peaceful. In the same room sat an elderly disciple known as Gopalda. He was also meditating. Suddenly, his meditation was shattered. A strange cry rang through the room, a cry filled with astonishment, a cry unlike anything he had ever heard. It was Narendra's voice. "Oh Gopalda! Oh Gopalda! Where is my body? Where is my body?" Gopalda was stunned. He rushed toward Narendra. There lay the young disciple. His body was motionless, rigid, lifeless in appearance. His eyes were turned inward. There was no response, no awareness of the external world. Alarmed, Gopalda called the other disciples. They rushed into the room. What they saw filled them with fear. They called Narendra's name, again and again. There was no reply. They shook his body. Nothing happened. They examined him. His breathing appeared to have stopped. His body showed almost no sign of life. The disciples became deeply distressed. Some feared the worst. One whispered nervously, "Is he dead?" The suspense became unbearable. Unable to decide what to do, several disciples hurried upstairs to Sri Ramakrishna's room. Breathlessly, they described what had happened. But the master remained perfectly calm. Not a trace of anxiety appeared on his face. In fact, he smiled. Then Sri Ramakrishna spoke words that instantly reassured everyone. Let him be. Let him be. He has been pestering me for this experience for a long time. The disciples were astonished. What they saw as a crisis, the master recognized as a spiritual triumph. Confident in Sri Ramakrishna's words, they returned and waited beside Narendra. Hours passed. Still he remained absorbed in that sublime state. Time itself seemed suspended. Finally, around 9 o'clock at night, subtle signs of returning consciousness appeared. The disciples were overjoyed. They gently massaged his limbs. They spoke to him lovingly. Slowly, very slowly, the body began to respond. Then suddenly, it was as if a powerful force pushed him back into ordinary awareness. Narendra opened his eyes. He looked around. For a few moments he seemed unable to understand where he was. The memory of the infinite still flooded his consciousness. Then he exclaimed with overwhelming joy, "Oh, what has happened?" His face shone with an extraordinary radiance. His eyes were filled with light. His entire being overflowed with bliss. Those around him could see that he had touched something beyond human description. Soon afterward, his feet naturally carried him upstairs to the room of Sri Ramakrishna. The master looked deeply into the eyes of his beloved disciple. Then he said, "Now Mother has shown you everything." But immediately he added something remarkable. Just as a treasure is locked in a box, so this realization will remain locked away, and the key will stay with me. Now you have work to do. When that work is finished, the treasure box will be opened again. These words reveal the greatness of Sri Ramakrishna's vision. He did not allow Narendra to remain absorbed in spiritual bliss. He sent him back into the world, back to humanity, back to service. Because Narendra had not been born merely to enjoy liberation. He had been born to awaken millions. And years later, the world would know that disciple as Swami Vivekananda. What can we learn from this incident? The highest spirituality is not escape from life. It is realization followed by service. Sri Ramakrishna allowed Narendra to touch the infinite, but then directed him toward humanity. That is why Vivekananda's life became a blessing to the world. May this sacred incident inspire us to seek truth sincerely, to deepen our spiritual practice, and to dedicate our lives to the welfare of others. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy learning about the lives, teachings, and extraordinary spiritual experiences of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda, please subscribe to the channel and join us on this spiritual journey.